Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel, Get It From Our Delights. On today's video I will be making egusi soup for my Nigerian husband for the first time, so follow along as I make this meal for him and the rest of my family as well. So what I'm doing here is I cut up a lime in half and I put some lime into the Pampano fish that I'm using for the egusi. And just to wash it off, I was brought up to do this anytime that we cook, whether it be fish, any type of meat, we wash it off with lime before we prepare it to cook. So on here, what I'm doing is I'm just adding up the ingredients that we'll be using for the fish. I do like to season my fish prior to placing it in the air fryer. So on here, I'm just cutting the fish, well, not cutting it through, but just putting some lines in it just to get the seasoning in between the fish, and that adds a little flavor to the fish prior to me placing it in the air fryer. And the quantity that I use is about 3 pompano fish, but I'm making 2 separate pots of the egusi soup. I'm making one that is extremely spicy for my husband and the other one mild for the rest of my family. Now my fish is ready to go into the air fryer. And now my fish is done, and I placed it in for about 40 minutes in the air fryer, but it depends on the quantity of the fish that you're cooking. You might want to keep checking to make sure that it does not burn or overcook. So now I'm just cutting up the vegetables that I will be using for this soup. So I am cutting up an onion. I used a bell pepper and a half, and about 4 small Roman tomatoes, and garlic, 2 garlic cloves, or 2 cloves of garlic. So I'm just blending the peppers together now. On this one, I added a half of a habanero as well onto it. Just now I'm adding the blended peppers onto the pot, and what I have in the pot is the palm oil. And I let this boil for about 10 to 15 minutes before I add the rest of my ingredients onto it. So now what I'm adding on here is the ground crayfish and the locus beans. And I pre-washed the locus beans, or I soaked it in water before, prior to adding it to my pot. And now I'm adding my fish onto it. Now I'm adding the smoked turkey. And now I am adding my vegetables, which is collard greens. And I used half a bag of collard greens on this dish for this pot because, like I said, I made 2 different pots. And now I am adding the egusi, or the melon seeds, but this one is already grounded, so it's not the whole seed. And I added about 6 or 7 tablespoons of the egusi, the ground egusi. And I actually needed to add more vegetables for this egusi, and that's why you'll see at the end that it looks a bit watery, but it was because it was missing more vegetables. But then I went back and added more vegetables to it and let it boil a bit more, and you'll see at the end how it looks. And now I'm adding the shrimps. And I'll part boil the shrimps prior to me adding it to the pot for about 3 to 4 minutes. And this is the end result. And like I was saying, it still needed a bit more vegetables, and that's why it looks a bit watery. And I did go back and added more vegetables onto it, and you will see once we are ready to eat how it looks. And this here is the end result. And we are ready to enjoy our egusi soup. This will bring us to the end of this video. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for another video. Bye bye. So a side note, you guys, is that my family actually loved this dish. They really enjoyed it. I actually wanted to add the clip to where my stepdaughter said that that it tastes good, but because we have some music playing in the background, I couldn't add that clip. But we enjoyed it. It was a win-win altogether.